All right, welcome to In My Humble Opinion. I am William Braylock, known as Bloodline. To my left, I have...
It's Mr. Mondo. How y'all doing today? And we also have...
I'm Daphne.
The lovely Daphne.
So today, we want to talk about relationships and how bringing people inside of your relationship in any form or fashion, how that can affect your relationship, positive or negative. Sometimes it could be negative, sometimes it can be positive. So we're going to try to hit every aspect of that. So I'll start with Miss Daphne, since she's the female here, and ask her, what do you think about adding someone to your relationship, let's say information-wise? So just when people talk about their relationship to other people all the time, their girlfriend or their boyfriend, bringing them in, hey girl, this is what happened with us, or whatever the case may be. Do you think that it's always good to bounce your troubles off of your friends?
No, I think if you share information, that you should only share limited information. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's okay to share your full information in regards to relationships, because sometimes some stuff that happens between you and your significant other is between the two of you, is not meant for it to be shared.
Facts.
You know?
Because see, what happened too, say me and you dating,
right?
And then when you go to vent, you know what I mean?
Right.
So then he will only hear the negative things about me.
Yeah.
So then he develops
There's always two sides to the
this ill
story.
will, but if you don't tell him all the good stuff,
Right.
And then it's like, well, I don't like him. Well, why I don't like him for you? That ain't a good look.
But I guess from a female's perspective, a lot of times other girls indulge their information to other females, mm-hmm. and sometimes you get a lot of negative energy from other females. And I'm not trying to bash other, the female relationship and their friendships and things like that, but sometimes it's just not a good look.
So do you think that a lot of times some females may tell you the bad things to have you be turned off by their man?
Yeah,
so
because sometimes I might tell if it's me and I'm in a situation, I might tell my best friend, I'm going to tell her all the bad details, you know what I'm saying? Not purposely, but I'm going to tell her how he pissed me off so that, she understand why when I don't like him, she don't like him either.
Wow. No, true story. This young lady I was seeing years ago, like we was going to CC, and I was wondering why it was these three girls who did not like me for I would speak, hey, I'm a nice guy, I want nothing from you, I wasn't even trying to holler, kicking nothing, it's just, hey. So she told me, oh yeah, well, I knew you was starting in the winter semester, so
I primed them.
Yep. So she literally told these girls this stuff so they wouldn't like me as a person.
And didn't even know you.
Yep.
So think about it. Sometimes it backfires, mm-hmm. because sometimes you'll see in a relationship where the woman's always bashing the guy or the guy was bashing the woman, but then the people in their circle is like, I don't see that. Like she'll be like, oh, he doesn't. Well, I don't see that when we're around, especially when you're a close-knit group and your guys are always in the same circle, mm-hmm. but she kind of may think that this other girl likes you or she knows what this other girl don't like. And so she tells her that these things about you to kind of get her off the trail. But I've always noticed that when someone is intentionally talking bad about somebody all the time, especially when they're in a relationship, then there's something behind it. Insecurities.
But then you don't know what kind of insecurities that person might be putting on that other person in that relationship privately, because a lot of people gaslight now.
What do you mean gaslight?
You know what I mean? Like they tell them, like you can be in a relationship and then in home personally, the two of you together, they could be telling them different things that is affecting their insecurities. You know?
And that I was going to ask you that. I've heard women say before, well, he caused my insecurities. Like young lady I know used to date years ago. Not the same.
It's a lot of young ladies from years ago.
That's only number 2. I'm in my 40s. Stuff happens. And she was not like, she wasn't petite. Like, she was just basically average size. She wasn't curvy. Like, she had a nice shape, but she wasn't like curvy or anything. Right. But the guy before me, or a couple before me, whatever, he would tell her she was fat.
Right.
So she would always be in the mirror.
Right.
And like sometimes I would see, I wouldn't be paying attention, like I walk past the bathroom or something, and and I'm like, what is you suck? Like, it's nothing to suck in, but she developed this insecurity because
he was constantly pushing that on her.
Yep.
Like, people gaslight seriously in relationships. It's just like, you take, for instance, you dating somebody and then they go somewhere and then they don't really contact you as much, but then when you go somewhere, then they're blowing up your phone, or you say, oh, I feel like this, but then they're like, you only feel like this because you're insecure,
but
or
you
because
get that. You also get, so say you go on a girls trip and you go on a girls trip.
I ain't calling nobody.
Have fun.
Say you go on a girls trip and it's you and 2 other females.
Right.
You happen to be the only one who's in a relationship, but you still want to go out and have fun, right?
Right.
And so you've already told your friends numerous of times that, oh, he's always calling me. This is before y'all go on y'all trip. Like, y'all ain't even thought about the trip yet. He's always calling me. He's kind of a clingy person, this, that, and the third. Soon as y'all get to where y'all going, probably Miami or Atlanta. That's probably where y'all going.
Miami.
And so y'all get to Miami.
Right.
And once y'all get there, your girl's like, girl, turn your phone off immediately, because you already know. Because in their head, because you've already gave them this indication that this is what's going to happen. So immediately, girl, turn your phone off, let it die, throw it in the water, I'll buy you another one, whatever the case may be.
Because he going to call, messing up your energy, and that's going to mess up
our trip. And that comes from bringing people into your relationship. If you're tired, I think if you have an issue with your man or your woman, sometime the first time that they hear about it is out of anger or in a group.
Anger.
Right? So we're all in a group. Oh, you always do this. And he's like, whoa, shit. I mean, stop. Whoa, I thought that you didn't mind me calling you and checking up on you. But then their girl's like, no, she said you always do that. And then now he feels some type of way because of the conversation that's going on.
Well, I think a lot of relationships lack communication. And if you communicate within the beginning of the relationship, the middle of the relationship, the end of the relationship, people have to communicate. And right now, people don't use communication as an outlet. And that's why so many things get so confused, and you don't know, and you're only assuming that this person is saying this, but you don't really know because they didn't really say it because you didn't communicate.
I think you have to learn how that person communicate. So I don't necessarily have to communicate like her, but I have to know how she communicates. So different things. Because, we always say communication is key, but if you communicate different, and I think that's sometimes the Achilles heel in a relationship, is because we don't understand that dynamic.
Well, I think we sometimes communicate with people the way that we want to be communicated with.
Right, and that's what I mean, yeah.
Right? And so for instance, myself, sometimes I always like to think before I talk, especially when I'm angry, right? So I may walk away and text you because I need that time to not be able to be emotionally responsive to you. But some people want that right now. Like, it happened right now, let's happen. But then those emotions be flowing. And then you may say what you mean, but you didn't mean to say it, right?
Or not that you didn't mean what you said, you didn't mean it the way you said it.
The emotions make it a little bit more.
So I said it angrily. Yeah.
Or as a person in a relationship, you say, well, I see the way that you communicate with everybody else, right? The way you communicate with everybody else, you're able to communicate effectively. You're able to receive communication from them. You're able to be patient. You're able to actively listen. You're able to be empathetic. But then, when it's me, right? Nothing I say is rational. Everything I say is irrational. You don't want to hear what I want to say. Your mind is already made up. So I think sometimes when we say bringing people in your relationship, when you're having these arguments or disagreements and other people are there, and I see that you're able to communicate with them effectively what you want to tell me, and I'm sitting right there, then now I'm going to have an issue. Like, well, what's this person have, or what are you doing with this person that you're getting all that communication through there? Is it because you feel like you have to handle them with gloves, or you got to handle them with the care and with me because you love me, and people say you hurt the people who you love the most, that you think I can just handle whatever type of communication you give out, or I'm supposed to already know how to respond to your communication?
You supposed to know. You know how wait, he's supposed to know, right? If your significant other, he's supposed to know, right?
He should know.
He should be able to read your mind, right?
I don't think he should be able to read my mind, but he should be able to understand me.
Okay. So then how do we get to him understanding you?
How long? What's the grace period of me not reading your mind?
It's communication.
Okay, so throughout communication, then we learn how to do that.
Right, between the two of you.
Right.
I don't think any guy should just be able to just read my mind. Because who knows? Sometimes I might not know what's on my mind.
That's what it be. Y'all don't be knowing. And I'm gonna say y'all. I'm gonna group them. Hold on, no, because y'all don't be knowing what's on y'all mind. So then y'all want us to figure it out.
No, hold on, man.
Well, you should know already.
We gonna rewind.
Don't know if you know.
If you in a relationship with somebody and you be with me all the time, you should already know. Like I can be with my best friend and she just know how I am.
Okay,
and
let's stop there.
Your
best friend.
Hold on, let her finish.
But wait, though, when you in a relationship with somebody and your relationship is deep, that person also becomes your best friend.
Should
become your best friend. So in that case, he should be able to understand what I'm thinking. Not like completely read my mind, but he should be able to understand my thoughts and understand my actions and not just be so...
Understand your thoughts. That's reading your mind.
Well, he shouldn't just be sitting there acting like he don't know what's going on when he be with me all the time.
But at what point, like you made a good point.
You said, grown man.
But you made a good point. You said when I'm with my best friend, right? My best friend understands me, right? So say we 1 month in, 2 months in.
That's too early.
Let's do 5 months.
That's too early.
Hold on. So we're 5 months in.
Because about 5 months, we already got familiar a little bit.
We got familiar,
Yeah, but that's too early.
Okay, it was 8 months. A year?
She wants 6 years.
At least a year.
Okay, a year. Right, we're at the 13-month mark.
13 months, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And at that point, the first 3 months, sometime we can't even count the first 3. Depends on what type of relationship you have.
It's new. You don't even know if you really know that person the first 3 months.
But at what point do we sit down? And I think this is what a lot of couples miss. They don't sit down and have that communication conversation. So you have all these conversations and all of these things about what you like, what you don't like, who your last boyfriend was, what made you happy with him, what made you, all of these things.
I don't want to know about your last boyfriend.
But just think about it. People have those conversations. Mm-hmm. But how often do people sit down and have a conversation just about the way in which they communicate? And second, the way in which they would like for you to communicate with them?
I don't think people have a lot of those conversations.
Do you think that would make relationships better if you had those early on?
Yeah, but I think people really go right into relationships initially without knowing a person. Like, it's basically, sometimes it's more of a sexual thing, you know what I mean? A lot of times people go right into those relationships.
About 98% sexual.
Yeah, just like that.
And I'll say too, also I think with that too is that, say if I was dating somebody last month, then I started dating somebody this month. See, I ended with the person, but I'm still like in a relationship. So then I treat the new person
as a continuation,
as a continuation relationship. So it's just like, okay, you know,
right?
But it's like, no, I didn't start over from scratch, you know.
But that's another thing too. People don't really do relationships.
They do situationships.
Situationships. People just be talking to people, you know what I mean?
But okay, so
you can be having 4 different personalities at one time, and you just have to be able to control them all.
I probably got to leave about 3.
So when we look at that first stage of bringing people in, and we're talking about verbally, but what do you think about emotionally? You know, a lot of times we emotionally let people into our relationships. And when we emotionally let them in, then either their emotions get attached to us or our emotions get attached to them. I'm talking about the outside person. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of emotionally help drive our relationship. You know, those friends who say, I don't like the way he make you feel. And you're like, what?
Right.
Or you know, this, that, and the third. And it's all emotionally tied because they're emotionally tied to you. So if they feel like something's not going right emotionally, they're going to express it.
But I want to flip that the other way. I think, like, you know, my core group of friends and stuff like that, we usually try to push to be like, you know what, hey, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
we like her,
Right.
or you know what, he a cool guy. Like, no, make it work. Like
Right.
that person make you happy. Like, yep, we all got issues, but it's like on the back end, I'll be now if it's one of my homegirls and I know he just he just dusty,
Right.
then it's come on now. And if it's a female and I'm like, and I know my friend, I'm like, nah,
Right.
just yep.
Keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So what do you guys think about how big does outside emotions play inside of relationships? Does
As
it
far as
depend-
like your friends and things
like your
that?
friends, your family?
I think if you don't have a connection, like a clear connection with the person that you're seeing or talking to or dating, and you allow other outside influences to control your emotions, I think that they will affect your relationship, you know?
So I listened to that. It just made me think of two things. Where I heard, like, when you date me, you date my family, right? Or like if you date somebody with kids or something, it's like it's a package.
Right.
So it's like, what you do with that. And then on the other end, I always said is like, well, me and you in a relationship,
I'm not in a relationship with
them.
them. Right.
So then it's kind of like the double-edged sword, other than if it's kids involved.
Right.
But I don't know. I wonder what y'all think about that then.
I think emotionally, if it's kids, you're gonna have to be open to the emotions of the kids. As you're coming into an already set family, right? They're already there. But as a extended family, I don't care. And I'll just be honest. Like I'm
So
going to
mama don't like you.
I'm going to be respectful.
Yeah.
At all times. I'm going to be cordial at all times. But if you just don't like me because you don't like me,
Right.
Some of them, they just don't like you because they don't like you. And then when I talk about emotions, I mean, now that your mom don't like me, your emotions are different with me. It
Yeah.
kind of stirs up your emotions a little bit different. Well, why would my mom don't like? It can be anything. She can just think that I'm just not good for you. You
Right.
know.
So what if you and Felipe happy together and he finally get to
Felipe?
meet Mom Dukes? I don't know Felipe. That's first
okay.
name came and he finally get to meet Mom Dukes. So y'all have a little dinner, a little family conversation or whatever. And then Mom say, I ain't really feeling Felipe. I don't like him.
But you do.
I went to high school with his daddy. They still or something.
Right. What would I do?
Yeah. What would you do? Would you be like, you know what, Mom? Like,
Well,
how would
I'd
you
probably
handle
have a conversation with my mom, the way our situation is set up, and I'd tell her, hey, I think you should like give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? And talk to him and get to know him. And I don't know, like my household is kind of different though, because everybody's pretty open and like it's not like a whole bunch of like opinions, and they have opinions, but they're open to new things.
Right.
So it wouldn't be a bad thing for me because I feel like they'd be able to understand where I'm coming from. They take time to also try to get to know him. Like invite, if he come to more things and then they eventually be like, oh, well, I like him or I don't like him.
You'd be like, is Felipe coming over to dinner this weekend?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But how important is that when you have a close-knit family for them to embrace your
Yeah.
relationships?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're the type of family who go out and do stuff, have family barbecues
Yeah, they
and
welcome
stuff.
people. Yeah, so they give that person an opportunity, but eventually, if they just don't like him, they just be like, "Well, that's you, and you're an adult, but I don't like him."
See, but in my humble opinion, no, in my opinion, I think that when you have that tight-knit family, emotionally, if you let them into your relationship, not disrespecting your family, I understand that you guys you don't like, Keisha,
Right.
right? But I do. I want you guys to respect her
Yep.
and be cordial with her because she's going to be around because she's my girl. Now, emotionally, I don't want to be split between y'all,
Right.
Because I'm emotionally attached to you guys because you're my family. I'm mostly attached to her because she's my girl. But I don't want to get to the point where I'm emotionally letting you dictate something that's gone on in my
Because
relationship.
it'll drain you.
It'll drain you. Yeah.
Yeah, but you
drain.
can't forcibly make them people like your
No.
parents or your family. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying forcibly make them do anything. I'm
No,
saying
but
that
you do
having a
have to-
conversation and setting it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Once you find out that they don't like her, well, why don't you like Keisha?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something about her.
Yeah, it's like
you can't tell me that.
Yeah, it's
You
like
can't-
if you my sister, and then I bring.
you can't bring Keisha, bro.
I can't bring
I brought Keisha.
I don't know, Sandra.
Right.
and then we all out having drinks.
I might know some
eating.
history about Sandra.
And that's what I was
See?
finna say. And I was just about to say that you might have went to school with her or something. And you like, you know, it might be, but it could be a misunderstanding.
But then at the same time, Sandra could have been different then,
Yeah.
and now she's different now. So, you know, just in my perspective, I think that you should give everybody an opportunity. And if you don't give them the opportunity, you'll never really know, because you encounter people all the time. You have like a feeling where you're like, oh, I don't really like that person, but you kind of keep your guard up. But eventually, if you get to know that person, you'll realize that you might like that person or you really don't like that person.
Question for you two. What would be, so you both have sisters, correct?
Yeah.
What would be something, like early on, like in the first couple months, your sister's dating a guy.
Right.
She tells you about the guy. What would be something that would be the deal breaker to you to be like, no, cut it out?
He's a guy? No. Cut it out. No. I think with my sister, because I'm close to my sisters, and it's like, they're like, oh, I'm dating this guy, or whatever the case may be. Okay, what's his name? What's his last name? You know, what school he went to, who his people. So, and that's just for my own knowledge to find out who this guy is. I may find some stuff out that I never say to her because that may never come
So
in a
would you
relationship.
go looking? Would you go looking for information, or if it came to you, would just
I
know
wouldn't. I wouldn't go looking for information, but if I find out that they're in a circle that I've been in, I may bring the name up, you know, and then let it flow that way. I won't look for anything. I may bring the name up.
Because women would be like, "What's his
Man.
name, girl?"
Man.
oh, yeah, I do know him.
Him, right?
Yeah.
But I think deal breaker for me would be somebody with a history of violence. I think that's a deal breaker for me. Violence. I would like to say being a deadbeat father, but if they're not planning on having kids, that doesn't matter. But even being a deadbeat father, I think that's a deal breaker for me, because I just feel like if you can't love your kids, you can't love anybody else.
Yeah.
That's good.
Deal breakers for me are addicts and people who lack the growth to be a better person.
Oh, okay.
You know, if
motivation,
you don't, motivation
drive.
or drive, or if they don't know
Some
how to
pizzazz.
move forward, it's just like, why are you wasting your time?
I would not have the guts to tell my family I dating an addict. I wouldn't be so my mom like, so what's up with Sandra? Oh, she had to go to her NA meeting.
Well, the thing about addicts, though, is sometimes you don't know people are addicted to things right away.
What I'm saying, because remember, this is a deal breaker for your
Right.
family member. So then it'd be like, how would you know that they would be an addict? You know, seem like the sibling, the sister, or whatever, will have to let you know.
Right, if she's let me know, yeah.
James is getting high.
Right.
And I think he took
Well,
something out my purse.
but addicts aren't always drinker. I mean, like
No, it can be anything.
crack or, you know, it could be drinking.
Hold on,
it
do
could be-
people still do crack?
I think they
I
do
am
heroin
so
and
far
stuff.
removed
No.
from the streets.
I'm just saying you rarely even hear that anymore.
I had this conversation with my cousin like a month ago. I'm like, I'm so far
Or
removed.
I know a lot of people do pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you, Mondo? Deal breaker for your sibling comes and says, "This is who I'm dating."
Now, I'll say for like an older one, I would say like, is he working? You know, stuff like that. Like, what is he doing? Like, if he still trying to be the drug dealer
Or the rapper.
Or rapper.
yeah, rapper, mixtape producer, or something like that.
Video game
Then I'm
ologist.
like, no, my younger sister, my baby. It'd be a little bit different with her. I would be
A little bit more lean, still trying to find
Yeah.
yourself at that point.
Yeah, I mean, she's grown,
Right.
but you know, yet and still, like, she's still in her like, you know, early 20s or whatever.
Right.
So, you know, it'd be kind of different. Like you said, he ain't putting your hands. For number one, like, he ain't putting your
Yeah.
hands on you. But then, if he didn't put your hands on you 3 times and you still with
You
him,
like it.
then
like
by
it.
all means,
It's a party.
Yep, that's what you into.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
But some people don't know how to leave. Some people have those insecurities. In abusive relationships.
yeah, and you know, I think. Can a person stop being abusive? Yeah, I think they can. Because I think for a male, even for a guy to hit a woman, it comes from he's insecure about something,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. Or he, you know, I'm not going to make excuses for a guy doing it, but I think it comes from a place of insecurity or he grew up in a household, or then she could have grew up in a household
Where
Where
she,
that's
yeah,
love.
women
seen
can
that.
Or
be
that's love.
abusive also.
And then, yep.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that, as you said, Mondo, about, and we both talked about the violence aspect of it, especially having sisters. When you look at the aspect of a man putting his hands on your sister because you're an emotion, now we're talking about emotions. Emotionally, you're fired up
Yep.
immediately, right? Before you know what happened, you don't care what happened, you don't care where they were at emotionally. And so then a lot of times that's why the female won't show those type of emotions around her brother. So she emotionally kick him out of that part of her life
Yeah.
as the protector. Because emotionally, if she feel vulnerable, she usually go to her brother or her uncle
Yep.
or whatever. But now she has to detach herself from those emotions for you because she still wants to be over here with this guy. But she knows that if she comes to you in an emotional state because of that emotional bond that y'all have,
Hands are getting thrown.
Yeah, right?
Because I always wonder when I hear things, I'd be like, but you got brothers.
Yeah, but they have emotionally detached their brother because they don't want to lose the relationship with their brother. And they don't really lose the relationship with this guy. And for them at that moment, they are so in love, quote unquote, with this guy that they're willing to not emotionally get the help that
True
they need.
story, and I hope my cousin don't see this. She do, oh well. So I think I'm maybe like 15 at the time. I'm about like 15. And my cousin, because we the same age, only like months apart. And she could have been 16 at the time, but we were around that age. She was dating this dude. He was like 18, 19. He stayed around the corner from us. And this back we had pagers and stuff. So
Clear pager, two-way, pocket full of quarters.
All this stuff, calling her bees and stuff. I'm like, man, hold on, like you're not finna be calling her out her name. So mosey on around the corner, bam. So a couple weeks later, maybe a month or so later, it was a gorgeous day. I just got back. I went to Grand Rapids for the weekend, just got back home, just at the bus stop, kicking it with the fellas. And I'm like, what them three dudes walking up for?
Oh, you throw
For
them
me,
in.
yep. I'm like, man, got the big one. Hit me with a 2x4. It was right. So later on, my uncle finds out about it. So he went off on her and called me stupid. I'm like, how am I stupid for protecting her?
Right.
He was like, no, because she's finna go run back to him.
He had already emotionally detached himself. The dad had already emotionally detached himself from that aspect.
He was more mad that I got hurt.
Yep.
Because
And
he
it was
like-
basically her fault.
Right.
And then at 2 months after he said that, sure enough, I'm at the store or at a park somewhere.
You see all them.
And I see her, and she go, oh, what's up? And she see me, and she like, and then he like right behind
Here come
her.
Earl.
Yep. So then like me and Earl basically, so I'm like, so me and him have like a serious beef. Like serious beef. Him and these other two dudes, right?
Right.
To the point where, sometimes, because I'm by myself a lot, even, now as an adult. So I'm nervous sometimes going out because I'm by myself because I'm thinking, something
Right.
could happen to me.
Right.
They scared too because they know some of the cats I run with.
That something can happen to them.
All
over
because, and
your,
then she ended
your
up back
emotional ties to
Yeah.
your cousin.
Yeah, because she was like a sister
Yep.
to me. Yeah.
So, talking about the emotional side, now let's move on to the physical, the sexual side of a relationship, of bringing people inside of your relationship for spice or whatever you want to call it. What's your take on bringing someone inside your relationship sexually?
I got a question. Would porn count with that? Because it's because to a degree, because you bring in that visual in and expecting.
But are you humping the TV?
Some
You don't have
people,
to answer that.
Wait, but some people are addicted to porn.
But I understand addicted to porn, but there's nothing physically or sexually you can do unless you hump the TV.
Well, to a degree, because I get what you're saying.
fantasized.
You're
It's
talking
lust.
about bringing in a whole nother person. But I'm saying, but then you bring in the ideal of
Of
what
another
you've
person.
seen from those people.
Yeah, I think you can do that too and make somebody curious and then open a bag of curiosity of, hey, we've been watching this porn of this threesome and it looks exciting. I've never had one before, and you're into it because we're watching a lot of it, and I'm into it because I'm watching it. Yeah. Let's do it. And you say no, and I'm like, well, heck, I want to do it.
Now, jokingly, you know, with some seriousness, I think all men would be like, yeah, man, I'll take 2 or 3 of them, right? But in a real monogamous relationship, no, I definitely ain't finna have share no man with my woman. Definitely.
Hold on, you ain't gonna share a man with her? You want to by yourself?
You know what I meant? Yeah, I'm not sharing my woman with no man.
There you go, brother.
Yeah, okay. Then on that, I don't want to even share a woman. I don't even want to bring another woman
into the relationship and share a woman with your woman.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
See, and me.
Now, if we're not in a relationship,
it's a party.
And you want to call your girl, you want to call Susie the Floozy.
She probably busy, but
maybe.
No.
But if you're not in a relationship, you already have some type of emotional attachment to that female, even though you all are just sleeping together.
Huh?
No, I see. I get what she's saying, but I think it's different because, like, if I'm in a relationship with you, then I'm committed. Then it's just us.
But if it's no commitment,
then it's no commitment.
It's true, but it's no commitment. But still, do you really want to share?
Well, my thing is this: I'll never.
Do you really want to share your part of the pie?
I think listen now, it's enough pie to go around. No, I just think that's just not something that I desire.
Right.
So I can't even really fathom, like.
I just feel like even if you're not in a relationship, it is, do whatever you want to do because you're not in a relationship. But then at the same time, if I don't want, even though we're not in a relationship, I still don't want to share you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know what I'm doing outside of whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
And so then say we bring this other girl, and then later on I call that girl because now I want something with her.
Yeah.
And so now I no longer want our little situationship because
you gotta have rules to it.
You're not no fun.
See, and that's what I think. People do what they do and how they do it.
Right.
But I think that when you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, whether that's marriage or just a committed relationship, once you bring that person in, to me, I feel, in my opinion, that it's opening the gateway for cheating.
Yeah, you open Pandora's box to something totally.
Yeah, because like you just said, Daph, if me, you, and this woman have this encounter, and then one day you got to work a double, and I'm like, I don't want to cheat on Daph, so let me call her
because it ain't cheating.
Because it ain't cheating. We already done got down with her, so it's not this familiar territory.
Yeah,
right?
But it's just not okay for you to be with her without me.
But even with that though, say we had this threesome multiple times. And people always say, you can have sex without no attachment.
Right.
You have sex enough.
That's not true though.
That attachment. So it could either be my girl want old girl to herself, or I want old girl to myself, or girl want me, or you know what I'm saying? So eventually it's gonna be.
Or I end up getting left out, and I'm like, hold on, I started this.
Right. But I think that you can have sexual relationships as friendships.
I think you can, but I think the problem is when you start adding dominoes.
Well, yeah,
then that becomes a problem.
When you add more people,
Yeah, because think of it. If you're telling me that me, you, and this woman can have a threesome, and say I've never had a threesome, and I haven't, and it blows my mind, right? So it's like that first high.
Your dopamine.
Exactly. So now I'm like, okay, then we do it again. Then it gets to the point where I'm not really enjoying sex with you alone unless we have somebody else in there, right? And my thing is that if you're mine, then let's be mine. Like if we're just out here doing the thing, then if that's what we're gonna do. But like I was saying earlier, I'm coming in and gonna let you know what lines I'm not crossing. I'm not sleeping with a guy. It's not gonna be a guy in here. There will never be a guy in here.
No extra thing.
It'll just be me.
Get your thing away from me.
There'll never be
your thing.
There will never be a helicopter fight, right? And so if I say that coming in and you say, well, I always wanted to try it with another girl, I'm like, okay, that's something I can look into with you. But I can't look into you and Jake from State Farm.
But even with me, when we say, you got your F buddy, I don't know what other term to use or whatever, right? If that's just what we are, because even if we in a relationship and we just having sex with each other, then that's it. Like I can't have sex with you,
Right.
and you. Like I don't feel comfortable because if I'm gonna have sex with you, like I have to feel comfortable so that I can be open. You know, it's a couple things that
So you
just
can't have
ain't
more
gonna
than,
happen.
you can't have more than 1 or 2 people in your situationship.
I'd rather just have one. I'm just saying.
At one time, or what are you saying?
Just
Just in a
like,
situationship. If you talking to one girl, you just want to be talking to one girl.
if I'm having sex, I'd rather have just sex.
So you can talk to 5, but you only sleeping with 1.
Okay. But then
No,
that causes
wasn't an
issues.
okay. That was the question.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah, his answer- yeah.
Okay.
But then that issue come up because if I'm talking to 5, then they get
Eventually,
right. They gonna want
they
to
gonna
do it
want
too.
some.
All I'm saying is like, I don't know, and I think that's why when people say date and they date multiple people, that's why I can't do it because I can't maybe get emotionally and physically invested in multiple people.
You're empathetic.
But see, but there's some
I'm
people.
empathetic. What you mean by that?
Mondo, you the type to go to a strip club and talk to them about
I don't
body
even. No.
and try to talk
Like,
them off the stage.
say like when,
you
when
really
we go out,
shouldn't be doing this, honey.
No, I'm not giving you no. Like I go, but the strip
Right.
club bores me.
I'm not a strip club person.
It
either.
don't. Why I'm gonna give you some money,
Money.
to get naked, and I can't
Can't
hit
do
it.
nothing. Yeah,
I can't touch it. Never
Well, some
mind.
it depends on where you go.
Yeah, that's what I was
but
about to say, yeah.
some of them you can't touch, and then it's
Yeah.
nothing. And my thing
You gonna send me on my way
Wait.
like this, and then nothing
with
I
no
can do?
money, so I can't
Well,
even
you
go.
don't have any control to be able to not.
No, but your job is to. Well,
That's
not
your
your job.
job.
Her job is to arouse me,
me,
right?
right.
So I can go in my pocket and so I can go one of these. I got
Like he already got his
$1
ones ready.
Yeah. So I can go in my pocket, right? So I can go in my pocket, right?
and throw the one.
And then wait, and then I'd be like, and now I go home
Nothing. And he just sitting
like
there.
this,
By yourself.
Yeah.
like this.
But see, so what do you think about while we're talking about bringing people in sexually? What about bringing your mate to the strip club, and
I'll go to a strip
That seems like that could be fun.
and having another woman dance on your man in front of you, and then a woman dancing on your woman.
I think I would rather go to the strip club with
Than have a threesome?
date than with my boys.
No, not to have no what?
I'm just
How
asking.
you
No,
throw that in
I said
there?
I'd rather go to the. I would probably have more fun going to the strip club with a date, my girl or situationship or whatever, than I do with the fellas. Now, granted, when I went, have I had fun and stuff? Yeah, but
It's not my thing. I'll never be the person to say let's go. I'll go, but I'm not
Yeah.
the person to say let's
But
go.
I mean, you wouldn't go if you were going on a date there? Well, I mean, that just wouldn't
Like
be
a first
place,
date?
but if you just not a
that would be
first
an
date.
interesting.
that would be
first date.
interesting first
That
date.
would be an interesting first date. A strip club to the strip club on the first date. That would, yeah.
But it probably has happened because some girls might work at a strip club and they just go in to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And then
so-
that's the thing too. If you the stripper club lady and you arousing me, and then he your man,
right. It's sitting in the back.
nah, baby, he got money. Keep on going.
Keep on going. See, and I couldn't be that guy. So when we're talking about bringing people in relationships like that, I
Right.
could never date a stripper. Like I just couldn't
Why?
because me and Mondo's chilling, having a drink.
Mm-hmm.
My girl walks in, right? She's a stripper. Mondo's eyeballing her. I
She
can't
got
even
the
tell him,
yams because she got the yams.
but I can't tell him to stop. He's been doing this for like the last 6 weeks without me even knowing because all he had to do is go to her job and see her however he wants.
Or her Instagram.
Or Instagram, or put money inside of her, those type of things. So she might as well walk around in whatever she was stripping in. She might walk around in some thongs and a bra because it's the same thing. Like there's no mystery. Like this is, I couldn't do it. It's like, say for instance, if your boyfriend, what you call him? Felipe. So say if Felipe was a stripper, right?
Right.
And you're sitting there and your girl said, oh girl, we gonna come over and y'all chilling. And Felipe comes out with his stripper stuff on
Right.
and walks to the kitchen.
Right.
Would you get mad at him?
No.
But then your girls are sitting there getting all
Well, I
moist,
hope
right?
they got some dollars.
No, but they're just chilling.
Help out with
they're-
these
listen,
bills.
you
They're just
might
got
well-
these bills got to
They're
get
You
over
paid.
there
gonna
for
look,
some-
you might as well go and give them
But
some
they're
money.
over there for Sunday dinner.
What?
I thought we were coming for
Listen,
Bible
if
study.
you over here and we sitting at the table and Felipe come out, how Felipe come out. First of all, Felipe probably has some type of motive for him coming out like that, because he shouldn't have came out like that.
He was in there. He was in the room.
He running late for work.
He was in the room practicing his
But
moves.
if he coming out there and then they got questions or they looking, you might as well just go and get him a couple of dollars too. Like, don't be looking at him and thinking.
So
you
like
just,
a pre-show
I
before
don't care
work.
what you call it, but if you gonna look at him and you gonna feel like you need to see what he got, let him do a little work and give him some money.
So you'll be comfortable with dating the stripper?
Yeah, I don't care.
See, the thing about Daphne is, I think with her, long as you treat her right,
She don't care.
it don't matter. Like, she's so open.
You could be a
Like-
super villain.
Like, not to say
a villain would be the best.
not to say that we closed-minded, but she just so open and free. Like,
Right.
it don't even matter. Like, I met him, he had good conversation. Cool.
That's
Like,
not how it
Yeah,
works.
he had the bank money in his hand. But he's
like,
cool.
I still don't know who oiled his back, because it was all men in there, so I don't know who rubbed oil on him.
I don't think that shouldn't have happened, but
But do you see how when you bring somebody, like all the dynamics of bringing somebody in a relationship at any point that we talked about, it can be detrimental to your relationship.
well, yeah.
And I just don't think, I think if you had to pick one, which one would you rather? If you had to pick one, right? Which one would you rather have in your relationship?
Like
As far as bringing someone else in to spice it up, emotionally bringing someone in, or verbally bringing someone in. Out of those three.
And you saying is basically bringing this from, so not physically, you can't come play. That's just
You
not
can't.
gonna happen.
Sandbox closed.
Yeah. You know, unless maybe my wife got an illness or something and she says, no, I ain't even gonna do that. It'd be like Abraham
You
and
would
them in
do
the
that?
Bible. No, I wouldn't do that.
He would. That's
no,
why he said it. And he'll make her
her.
watch because she can't move. She's paralyzed.
No, I mean, I think to a degree, if you have close friends or close families, people are already emotionally invested in a relationship. So I would have to go with that, because no matter what, if
Whether you tell them to
next
or not.
week you come talking about some dude, we're gonna want to know, well, what's up with him.
Right.
So I'm already gonna be, invested in it emotionally. So I'd say that
because emotions exist before the relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before you got it. I think I would have to pick.
You trying to get a threesome?
Yeah.
No.
You trying to get a train ran on you
I
by
would
two?
I
by
would
two
rather
midgets.
verbally bring my friends in and talk to my friends about it, because I just know, like, especially like my best friend, like I know,
Who your
like
best
we
friend?
just,
She cute?
yeah, she is.
Hey, best friend.
We're gonna be
But
looking at pictures of best friend during the break.
but she like will ride for me and I ride for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been friends for so long that, like, if she mad, I'm mad. You know?
See, and that go back to what I was saying earlier.
If he
'Cause you
did
done sat
something-
up there and be like, and the Ramon didn't walk into here till about 3 a.m. smelling like Patron.
But she's a good motivator too, because
And-
sometimes she'll be like if I'm in some type of situationship, she'll be like, you know what? Don't think about it like that. You should think about it like this. You should be positive.
There's
But
friends out there like that?
Huh?
She gonna be like, girl, we
Right.
can cut him.
But
Right.
then after I'd be like, nope, we're not gonna think like that. She'd be like, okay, well, let's
Okay,
just
then
go
when
cut
you
up
get-
the tires
when you get the
then.
bleach.
Every time he go out with Braylock, they
Right.
be going till 4-5 in the morning.
Right.
Coming back smelling like such and such.
And especially if is best friend single.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hey, best friend.
Best friend single, right?
right.
And when best friend is single, you with Floozy Susie, brother. Hold on.
Hey, I'm just saying hi. The
Oh.
best friend better be watching. If it's best friend, she better tune
Right.
in, listen to something.
So, say for instance, she's single, as best friend is, and you're not. Sometimes that there is a whole different dynamics.
because best friend be like,
Best
hey,
friend be like, hey, we can go do this. Don't even worry about him. That's on both sides, male and female. Like, man, you gotta put up with this, bro. We got
But-
some girl over here.
Yeah, but I
see-
just feel like we both alike.
Yeah.
You
But
know what I'm
that come
saying?
back with communication, because in respect, because like you said, when you go on your girls trip, have fun. You do not have to call. Okay, well, we're going to the bar now. Now we're going to dinner. No, stop.
You're gonna annoy
have
me.
Your fun.
Yeah. I think my philosophy is when I go on vacation, whether it's girlfriend, well, them dollars are like really distracting me. But when you go on,
You must have been in the kitchen like Felipe before.
I was in a studio apartment. Everywhere was the kitchen. So when you go on that vacation, I feel like you should cut ties with people from where you are at, unless it's an emergency. Because how can you truly vacation if most of your time is spent communicating with the people who mentally you want to get away from, whether that's your job, whether that's your kids, whether that's your significant other. Like, you have to have that time, because then it's not a real vacation. And if your significant other can't understand that,
When you get there, let me know you made it safe.
that's it.
You know, you ain't got
Text me at night when you get in.
because if you get to hit
You need
me
a
up,
text that night?
If you're in a different environment, and I'm not saying text me, oh, I just made it home. I mean, I just need to know whether it's that night, that morning,
just
whatever.
whenever. If you don't, if y'all hanging out till 4-5, just to know that you just made it safe.
Oh, okay.
You know, even to this
You
day,
gotta talk to me.
right? Even to this day, if I was to go out of town and do something, I'm sharing my location. With
Yeah.
I got one homeboy. He
Oh, definitely.
you know
with
what I'm
your
saying?
friend. Yeah.
Sharing my location just to know.
If something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if you travel abroad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Travel abroad, or if you're going to be hanging out to 5, 6 in the morning in an unknown location in a big city, like you just, hey, we going to, not saying I'm calling when I get there, hey, tonight we going to this club.
Right.
So if something happened, the last thing you know is he was at this club.
Right. So
Right, I
it's
get
not
it.
like,
Ain't no checking up on, it's just
yeah,
safety.
it's just basically like,
She said she ain't
'cause I
telling
care
nobody
about
nothing. He'll find out from the news.
Yep.
you. Almost made me say something.
What you was gonna say?
I can't say. 'Cause we, hello.
You read the disclosure?
Right. All over.
So moving from that and how bringing people in your relationships, let's move on to baggage and how baggage affects your relationship. Your own personal baggage, and baggage that you may have brung in, baggage that you won't unpack, but you'll hold on and sneak and look in the bag every once in a while, but you don't really take it out in your relationship, but it shows its head. How do you think, how do you deal with baggage? Let's start there. So we'll start with you, Def. How do you deal with baggage?
Well, baggage is hard to deal with because a lot of times people come with emotional baggage, especially like at my age. You know what I mean? You've been around so long. You've been in and out of different relationships, different situations. Most people have, and that baggage, where especially if a guy has been hurt, you know what I mean? That's like you have to climb mountains to try to help him or fix his situation, and I don't be having time for that.
But
It's
see,
like-
that'd be the problem when you said try to fix his situation.
Well,
See, it's not your job.
It's not my job to fix it, but it's my job to, if we're gonna be in some type of relationship
Loving,
and we're gonna
nurturing.
w-
No, go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but I'm not super all of that. You know
We
what I mean?
know you a thug.
Man.
You a thug.
She said, look here, brother, go get yourself together
Yeah, you
and
need to
come
get
back.
whatever you got going on fixed, because right now you're emotionally draining me, and we're supposed to be having fun and we're supposed to be happy, but you're still hurt and you can't accept me for who I am because of somebody who hurt you 3 years ago.
Right, and you
like
a
me
G.
and her are too many different people. You know,
Too
not
many?
too many.
How many
but
people in your head? That's
me
the
and her
third
are
time you
different-
referenced the people in your head.
Me and her, oh, it's a lot of them. Me and her are different people, so don't compare our situation to hers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Bondo?
So me with stuff, I've learned how to I think one of the baggage I had before, and I'll be open, is I think I had abandonment, rejection issues.
That
and
was
stuff
my
like that.
topic.
Oh, well, you still can share your side. So I think with me, that's what it was. So I would try to like hold on, but then I got to a place where, wait, hold on, we ain't got no bills together, we ain't got no kids, no paperwork together. So it'd be the littlest thing that I didn't like, and then I would stop talking. She could be a great woman, and then one of my homegirls was like, you cut women off too quick, like you don't give it a chance.
You're a ghoster.
No, I'm not a ghoster. Maybe I am. I don't.
He'll leave a song on your voicemail. We are not together anymore.
No, it'd be like that. I you know, and it wouldn't even be that I really lost interest. It'd just be like, I gotta put it with that. But it would be something so minimal that it'd be like, it would almost be stupid. It was real stupid of me. So then I had to kind of check myself and see where that came from. And I'm like, was that a shield I put up to keep myself from getting hurt?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because guys have been hurt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See-
it sometimes maybe it was my fault that the hurt came. So then, you know, I learned now it's just like, if I was to get into a relationship today, this relationship and those relationships, you know,
Different.
to over. I think what happens a lot of times when we talk about baggage is people get over the person, but they're not over the relationship.
Or the situation.
Yep, or the situationship.
Yeah. And for me, I think my issue is that because I've been hurt, I go in making sure you can't hurt me. So
you got that guard up.
I got that guard up. Like immediately, I'm going to go in, and you're going to think I have no feelings. I'm going to be the greatest guy. You know, I'm very attentive.
Yep.
I'm very active. I'm very present. But emotionally, sometimes I'm not going to give you that emotion because that's where I was hurt at. So my emotions stopped there, and I had to
wonder
work.
if I do that.
I had to work through that. I had to realize through myself is that you're selling yourself short.
Right.
Because you're not allowing to be emotionally attached to anyone. We're going to do all these amazing things. I'm going to make you feel good about yourself. I'm going to be thoughtful. I'm going to give you everything, but I can't give you my emotions because that's my most vulnerable part of me. You can spend all my money. You can waste all my time. You can do all of these things that I feel that I can recover from as a man. But emotionally, because as men, I just believe that once we emotionally give something, that's us really wrapping up our vulnerability and putting it in your hand.
Yeah.
And once a man give you his vulnerability in your hand and it gets hurt, I think it's harder for a man to come back from that than it is for a man for you to empty his bank accounts out, for you to spend all of his money.
My biggest thing, like relationships, because like you said, once I made myself vulnerable, and then it's just like, I care about money because we always get money back.
Right.
It's the time. I'm like, damn, we wasted all this time.
Yep.
But let's just say you're in a situationship and you might be, you know, one girl or two or three girls you might be talking to, and one you're like, oh well, let's just say it's two girls, and
Let's do three. Keep it interesting. Let's do three.
You like three, okay? So one of them, you know, you really really like, and the other two you're just kind of like, you know, going with the flow. It is what it is. And that third girl of this situationship is really into you. She cares about you, but then you
like her to lease.
But you like her the least, and you give your time to girl one and give so much more emotion to her, and then three later on, do you look at her like, oh, I messed up, or how do you feel about it?
Let me go
as a
there
guy?
first.
Either go ahead, because go ahead.
I think that when you've been hurt emotionally, you try to spread yourself out so that the impact of being hurt emotionally again is not as hard as the first one. So that first girl that you're saying that you're into, you know, she may seem like she's the best thing ever happened to you, but you're really not emotionally gonna be there, right? You're everywhere else. That second girl you hang out with, y'all have fun, y'all kick it. That third girl is in love with you, right? In love with every aspect that you have. But
Gotta get with number three.
that number three scares you, right? So you may deal with her here and there, but that fun girl that's in the middle, and that girl who really you like her too, that middle girl probably is going to get more spontaneous attention than anyone, because you don't want to lose number one, and even though you're afraid of number three, you know number three is good for you. So you're kind of trying to balance them with the middle. And so I think that, as I said, emotionally you spread yourself, because at any point, 1 and 3, you could be emotionally wide open to.
But do you take that chance to lose 3 when you know that 3 was actually the best for you?
See, for me, this is the thing, and this is why I was saying before, like, I can't entertain multiple women, because eventually I'm gonna have to choose. And okay, maybe that's what you're saying about me.
You don't really have to choose. You can start ghosting too.
To a degree,
No,
but I mean,
because
but
if
you
you
have
got-
to choose.
yeah.
So I have to choose to. You're gonna be.
Just ghost
You're gonna
everybody.
be.
She
Then if I
just
ghost
move
everybody,
out of-
then I'm like, then I'm by myself.
So she just
Yeah.
move out of the state.
No.
She's like-
So what I'm saying is, eventually I'm gonna have to choose.
Right.
Right. So if I choose number 1, I lose number 3. Number 3 really like me. So then I have to start looking, okay, at the bigger picture, like down the road, okay. And that,
But number 3 is the most stable.
okay, and I'm wondering if, was it subconsciously, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for, have I always picked number 1,
Anyway.
knowing I should have picked number 3? Because clearly, me picking number one never worked out
At all.
because I wouldn't be here with y'all today. No,
Where would you be?
Jeez, I'd be with my baby. No, I'm saying. But no, and I wonder now, just having this conversation with us, like that it is subconsciously. But it's like sometimes I feel like, damn, I done picked the wrong one. But now, if I don't have this buffet,
And all I got is chicken.
distractions.
yep. So it's like,
But
so
think of this. Do we not, and this is male and female, do we not pick number 3 because subconsciously we love number 3 too, and we don't want to hurt number 3? Because we know.
now I have been there before.
Yeah,
like,
we know
like,
that
I
we're not
know.
even ready for
I
number. We're just
know.
happy number 3 said hi.
Yep, I know. Right now,
I'm
can't.
not good for
I
number three.
can't. No. Yep. I've been there before.
So I still want to see number 3. So I keep a little number 3. Number 1, I know that it's not going to work out, but I'm going to have a hell of a time
Get fun while it
with
lasts.
her. Number 2 is my solace between 1 and 3. When and that might be a person who gets no emotion.
Number
They
2,
just-
you
they just
might
get
tell.
fun.
You might tell number 2
about 1 and 3.
About 1 and 3.
Right.
You see what? So I think that's the balance that people kind of have, where
So how do you juggle your guys?
all 5 of them.
It's not 5. It's more like 6.
Oh, okay.
But
Play on play.
Player.
no.
Are they all
Best friend.
Yeah.
Best friend. You need to have a talk with her.
Man.
But I just communicate with everybody. You know what I mean? And I try to make everybody feel just as special as the next person.
Sounds like a
So-
script club.
But see, is it genuine though?
Yeah, it's all genuine because I like everybody. You know what I mean? I do like some more than I like the other ones. And then I do have one that's my favorite.
Now, what if? So you got your favorite, right?
Right.
So what if he wants to be like, hey, listen, I just want to be exclusive, just me and you.
Oh, then I just wouldn't talk to everybody else.
Now, what if? Not that one, but like
Number 7.
number
6.
3. Let's go into, so say if number 3, like, hey, listen,
Right.
I want to be exclusive, me and you. I know you got other things going on, but hey, I'm serious. I'm going to build with you.
You replace him.
Well, I
'Cause-
still like my favorite.
So you're gonna replace number 3. He's out of the lineup.
Right, because now number 3, he's no longer
Serving a
content
purpose.
with being number 3.
Well, he doesn't know that he's number 3.
I'm sure number 3's know they're
But
number
if you
3.
saying you open and honest, he probably don't know. He probably don't know where
Know
he
where he
fall
fall.
off,
Tier,
but
yeah.
he know.
Okay.
It ain't like Nola Darling when she didn't brought everybody to the table.
Right.
You know.
Right. I don't know. I guess I would like my favorite, but then number 3, I think maybe I just push a couple of other people out of the way and still keep just them 2.
So hold on. So
Hold-
you'll
I got
move
one.
him up so he can feel better?
She's so
So
wrong.
she gonna take him off the bench and let him start.
So what if the reason number 1, your favorite, ain't committed to you is because you
You
got
ain't
all
his
this
favorite.
other stuff? Because he like, how can I be your favorite? Oh, that's a good one. I heard you say, how can I really be your favorite if you're entertaining these other guys?
But he don't know.
we
Okay,
live,
this
we,
is-
we
this-
live in a small town.
Listen,
you know.
this is one of the things
He's
I think
heard
people don't
stories.
understand.
First of all,
People know.
Wait, don't.
People
First
know-
of all, don't tell all your business.
Right.
First of all, don't tell all your business
Listen.
because I know
Right.
some stuff. Don't tell all your business. I'm just saying.
Listen, people know.
hypothetically.
People know, right?
People know.
right.
What makes things complicated is when they look for confirmation. It's not, people know what's going on. They just seek confirmation. And
Bro,
once they go out and get
don't
confirmation
ask questions that
you don't want to
the
know.
answers to.
Am I number 1? Then you say, no, I feel bad about myself. Now I got to know what number I am. And now I'm doing homework trying to become number 1.
Now you mad at me because I'm number
Yeah,
one.
but you
I
don't
am.
communicate that information like that most of the time. You know, especially if you get to know somebody or you're just talking to somebody, you know, you don't always just communicate that information.
But you sound like you do. Like you just walk in and be like, it's 4 y'all. You number 4. You probably can work your way up later
I
on.
didn't say- No.
Drop off lunch
I didn't say
here and
no,
there.
no. But I will be nice to everybody.
Okay, so how about
But,
this?
but you're a nice person,
Person.
though.
Right.
But that has nothing to. So, being a nice person gets you in the door. Then your manipulative skills keep you in the game.
You just have to float.
Can't stand her
Okay, you just gotta float. Okay, Ali. So we talked about our emotional baggage. What emotional baggage do you not accept? Will you not accept?
You still having feelings for somebody else.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's hard if you find out after you catch feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't caught feelings, then boom, oh, you still.
Yeah, I try not to chase feelings.
I made a Facebook post one day. This is probably like last year or something, and it said something like in the lines of, if she smiles when she hear his name,
They
then
still
brother,
together.
your brother, you might as well you might as well end it now or something.
She
like
ain't
that.
for you.
Yeah, you know, different stuff like that. Yeah, because either way, a guy or a girl, like if I'm dating somebody and they want to know about my ex, because one thing I try not to do, it's no need for me to discuss these past relationships. But if you really want to talk about them,
Let's talk about
them. And then I get to telling you about so and so, and then I'm like, yeah, and I get to smiling and reminiscing.
Right. Now I'm in trouble.
Then you probably should, you know, okay, well, maybe he still got, if she come back, you know, is he gonna go run back to her?
But what if it's not that? What if it's, so say for instance they say, you know, one of your ex's name or whatever, and it's in a situation, and you thought like, oh man, let me tell you about that, and it's a lie, but it's because of the memory that you have, not so much the connection that you have to her or wanting her back. Y'all can still be friends, and you cannot hate her. And what I mean by friends, I think talk every day and all that. But
I think I'm friends with the majority of my exes, except for probably two. Actually, like one of my exes is like one of my best friends. Yeah.
See, I think for me, baggage that I shun away from is I think when a person carries over their insecurities from another relationship, I think that your unwillingness to give me a fair shot, to be the guy that you think you want to be with, or the guy that you think you like, lust, whatever you may call it, when you make sudden hints about how that's how the other guy started off, or he used to do that sometime, or this, that, and the third. I think that when you do those things, that means that you're coming in and you're sabotaging us off the bat.
You ever heard that song,
In the
My Music
beginning.
Soul Child, Previous Cats?
No.
You
want to sing it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll play it for you when we're done. But yeah, that's a yeah.
So when
that's
you
one
look
too.
at what you want to accept, what baggage have you accepted and regretted?
Emotional baggage.
Emotional baggage.
Break that down a little further.
Well, with emotional baggage, people come into the relationship and they come with all these different feelings, you know? As far as like, just like you said, how people come in and they're like, you know, this happened in the past, or you're like this. Like, sometimes those feelings are just, they're hard to take because you want to have a good relationship, but you can't because you have to fight whatever battle they're still fighting from the previous situation that they were in. And then this is a new situation. So we want to go out and have fun and we want to do something, but then you don't want to do it, or I can't dress like this, or I can't do this because it's something that somebody else did, or something that you have feelings about. Or
James wore that same cologne.
Or you feel like, oh, this is going to happen if you do this. Like, the emotional baggage is like super hard to have to deal with because it's like you already have your own emotions. Then you have to deal with the extra emotions that this person brings too.
Do you think in that instance, then you're not only being your genuine self as the person who has to deal with the person who's bringing the baggage? Now, instead of just being myself, I'm trying to work hard not to be James. You know, I'm trying to work hard not to be John or whoever the other guys
Like
that weren't good enough for you, and I'm good enough for you because I'm great.
Yeah, so you have to change who you are kind of to be the person that they want you to be, but then that's not the point of even being in a relationship.
So now I'm overdoing it for your enjoyment.
Then I'm gonna get burnt. I'm gonna get burnt out
anyway.
But in the beginning, you know, when we first kind of start talking about this, you were like, you can't try to change somebody, but then at the same time, I need to change myself for you.
I see.
You know,
I think in relationships, like you said, you don't change for a person.
You evolve.
But you guys, you evolve and you grow together. And I think a lot of times people don't grow and evolve together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why a lot of relationships, you be like, oh, what happened to them? Oh, you know how you see couples, and you be like, I like that couple together.
Yeah. And then you find
a couple
out.
years, you be like, yep. But they couldn't grow together. And it's sometimes because a party didn't want to.
But you got to learn how to. You got to learn how to love a person the way they want to be loved, instead of loving them the way you think they should be loved or liked or whatever the case may be.
But,
because sometimes we go in and say, "Ooh, I bet she like roses and this, and I'm doing all of these things that I think," but I never said she only like flowers, but she's accepting them from me because it's a nice gesture. But I never asked her what makes you feel pretty or what makes you feel sexy or what makes you feel important.
Right.
If I don't ask those questions, then I'm just going off what Will think you should have. Or
So you're having communication.
Yeah.
But you know, the 5 love languages, I believe there are more than 5.
I believe you can interchange each one.
Yep,
You
and I
don't stay
think
stuck with
it
one.
does change because I know receiving gifts is one of the 5 love languages. So if you was with a guy who only bought you stuff, so then with me, like, I'm fine, I want your time, 'cause I didn't get time. But then after a while, you might just say, hey, I do like to get gifts occasionally, but I think that's a start. People should find a love language.
Right.
And then, and of course, that's a good conversation to have with the person you with, that open lines of communication. And then when you feel that those love languages are changing.
I think I had a conversation with someone about your first love language is developed at home amongst your immediate family, your mom, dad, siblings. And so sometime if you don't acknowledge that,
I was a latchkey kid.
or tap into that, right? And so then when you get older, that love language is still intertwined with you because you never adjusted it.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, it manifests, but it's not really what your love language, like that you have as your own personality. But you're so used to your dad making you a latchkey kid, but giving you a lot of gifts, giving you a lot of, I love you, I'm working hard here, this is for you. And so then you get in relationships and you see that, and then you realize it's not making you as whole as it did when your dad did it or your mom did it or whatever. And it may be that quality time that you want. And in a relationship, you're getting all these gifts, but you feel abandoned.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to express to your mate that it's the quality time without making them feel bad about all the great things. And I think that what happens too. All the great things this person is doing or you perceive, then it's that one thing. And a person always say, well, it's only that one thing.
Yeah.
So I can kind of deal with
I've
that.
had that in a relationship to where you only acknowledge and pinpoint the bad things that we had.
Right.
And it's like all this nice stuff, great stuff I did. And then like you had to think about it. But then once you thought about it and, she got to talking, and it's like, okay, so you're going to let an argument that we had, that maybe you started it.
They usually started.
Right. But
They?
Women.
Who's they?
not you.
Not
don't
you,
count.
the
You
other
don't count.
women.
Why don't I count?
You know what I'm saying? You start the argument. So at the end of the argument, like me, I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving. Not saying I'm leaving the relationship or leaving you, but I'm about to leave because I'm not finna do this.
Right.
But that whole day probably was
Great.
and then that exits out that day. And to go by what you said, it's just like that one thing messed it up for all that other stuff. Yep, you bought me that gift.
Right.
But Dad, you was working 60 hours.
He's working 60 hours.
I know, Dad, you got us this big house and I always got food on the table and the newest clothes, but you're never there.
Never there. And I think in relationships that happens too. Sometimes we get so content with the everyday that it becomes everyday.
Yeah.
And we forget about the dating aspect and understanding that just because Daph liked last year that I took the trash out every Tuesday by 8:30, and she was like, oh man, I'm so glad he did that. Well, this year, continue to take the trash out, but add something to it.
Yeah.
Wash the dishes or do the laundry or something to that effect where we're not stagnant. Because
Right.
once it becomes stagnant, then it becomes routine. Once it becomes routine, it becomes second nature. And then it's just there.
But to go what you said, when things get stagnant, do we converse about it? Do we have a conversation and say, you know
No,
what?
then people get mad. You just get angry and you built that up in you and you just been holding it in for so long and then you just explode. You know what I mean? And then it becomes an argument. But if you had to just kind of shared it a little bit or said, hey, this is what I think, or hey, maybe if you do this, it help a little bit. If you reference it to a person so that they have it in their brain and they acknowledge it, it's easier for them to understand it throughout the whole situationship instead of you just getting to a point where you just blow up.
I think that,
And that's what happens.
yeah, sometimes you have to be vulnerable yourself. And if you see an issue, go in with how you're going to fix it. Let the conversation start. You know what, babe? I just been noticing that this has been going on. So I'm going to try to do this to make sure we don't get there anymore. Boom. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, maybe I'm doing something too. I mean, most people, not all, but maybe I'm doing something too to cause to this. And because you came and were vulnerable enough to me to say, I'm going to do this off the back to make sure that we don't get here anymore. That's me then trying to learn how to have harmony between you and I, because people think that in order for you to win, I got to lose. In order for me to win, you got to lose.
And that's what I don't understand. Why is it competition in relationships and we are on the same team?
I don't get that.
And people really would
Because you're working together to grow as a unit. You know what I mean? You're not working so that I can be better than you or you can be better than me.
But sometimes it's that, it goes back to what we're talking about, baggage. It's that baggage that I brought from my last relationship where he was the breadwinner and I did this. So now you're coming in and wanting to be equal or whatever, 70-30, whatever you want to do.
Right.
And for me, it's like, okay, I'm not used to that. So again, I'm not evolving into this
we
relationship.
both got to be 100.
Yeah, we
You know
got
what
to.
I'm saying?
You know, and my thing is that I don't want a 50-50 relationship because sometimes I can only give 20 and I need your 80, baby.
No,
can you bring your 80
But that's
today?
what I say, you 100, because I have to give 100 and you give 100.
Right.
Like you said, because if it's 50-50, we both bringing 20, that ain't nothing but a 40% relationship.
Right.
It just ain't going to fly.
It ain't gonna work. So the baggage that you said you can't go with, do you consider children baggage?
I don't consider the children baggage. I consider
Come on.
The baby daddy or baby mama the baggage,
Come
right?
on. Come on.
exactly.
That's what I was trying to get. I'm seeing one of y'all was gonna say that. So when you think about children in a relationship and the baggage that it comes with, not the kids being the bag, but the baggage that sometimes comes with the crazy baby mama, the crazy baby daddy, however many of them it is. And that's a whole nother subject about how many baby daddies are you going to accept or baby mamas are you going to accept from this person. How important is the communication between whoever the significant other is, male or female, with that other person? Like, at what point do you allow that person to be the baggage in your relationship? Not saying that your significant other is bringing it in, but the drama that this person is bringing in. Do you ever confront that person, have a conversation with that person, or do you keep the lines of communication through the person that you're with?
I don't think the other person is really your business, especially in the beginning of like the relationship or anything like that. Like, that's between y'all.
So we're year 2 and Scotty still's messing up. What you doing?
Oh, well, I mean, you just need to tell Scotty, listen, somebody gonna have to get on, do something, fix it. Because a lot of times those extra baggage situations affect your relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want it to continue to affect your relationship. So that person needs to try to correct it or do something to appease both parties so that it's not any type of conflict.
Yeah. So my thing would be, well, he ain't coming over. I mean, long as he's being a father to his kid, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Granted, y'all can have an older kid to the point to be where y'all are cordial and friends now, right?
Right.
So, you know, now if he calling you mad for whatever,
Arguing,
why you
screaming.
got me on child support still,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. You know, but me being the man, I'm gonna tell her, well, this how you handle it, and you handle it like this.
Right.
Now, granted, if you don't want that adhere to my suggestions, that's fine. But then it's gonna be to a point. It's gonna be like, okay, well, I love you, I support you, but you have to leave me out of this. This is between you, him, and your child or children. So me, on the other hand, I tell my kids, mom, or something like that, be like, oh, what going on at my house ain't in your business.
Right.
Long as your kid ain't getting beat and ain't eating and stuff like
Right.
that, yeah, but like, nah.
So what about, and I only asked that question too because it ties into what we talked about earlier, emotional attachment. So you're emotionally attached to this person that you're with, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them being emotionally abused by this person,
It's tough.
Is going to be a tough, because that now that's some baggage that's been put on her in your relationship. Nothing that she's bringing. She probably brought a little of
him.
it,
Yeah.
but or him,
Yeah.
right? But now somebody is putting this undue stress or baggage inside of the bag that you now have, by this point, helped unpack,
Yeah.
right? Or help to push down or whatever. At what point do you think that that emotional baggage that she has is going to carry over, or he has, that's going to carry over to your relationship? And if it does, how do you handle it?
For me, I would just, like I said, from being a man, tell her, let her explain, like, okay, this is probably how he could feel. You know what I'm saying? So almost sympathize, or is it empathize? I don't know, one or two, with him, right?
Right.
And then, just kind of, you don't want to middleman it, because you don't want to be in the middle of it, because
It's really not your business.
business.
Kind of.
right, to a degree. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's almost like just be her support system. Tell her, like, hey, it's past 8 o'clock. Delete the message.
Right.
Whatever.
Don't answer the phone.
Yep. Stuff like that. If it ever came to where you had to check them, then you check them. But
With
if
the pause or without the pause,
preferably without.
but whatever it calls for.
I mean, if he ain't swinging on you or nothing
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
there's no need for the pause. But if he throwing out beads and stuff, and you might have to let him know, like, hey, like, no, this is not what we
She
doing.
with me now.
But then that comes in time. But that's after you've exhausted other things, and because you kind of have to strengthen her.
Right.
If that's draining her, you have to strengthen her.
But
So
I-
let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Do you think that it's important, and I'm going to ask this to you, Dad, important that what Mondo said happens, not the pause and things like that, but that that backup per se, or that rebuild per se, is good for you to unpack that baggage? And what I mean by that is that if he's doing all of these things, calling you all these names, this, that, and the third, and I have to have that conversation of, hey, I know y'all got a kid together, I know that you guys got a co-parent, but all this disrespect that you're giving towards her as her man, I can't deal with
'Cause
that.
now you're disrespecting me.
You're disrespecting me now. But for her to see that, instead of saying, that's between y'all, let me get my hands off of it, I don't want to be involved with that. How much do you think emotionally
But
that
wait, hold on.
strengthens her?
I think that it can't take place if you don't have a relationship with the child, though. So I think
Right.
as
So
a-
we're
as a
we're
guy-
speaking on that on the note that the kid lives with you and her,
Yeah.
and y'all are building, and you're a part of that
Relationship,
kid's
yeah.
life.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
people listening, just to understand, like, you also have to have a relationship.
Yeah, it just
with
can't
that
be
kid.
just because it's my woman.
Yeah.
I think it'll help strengthen the woman, because she knows that she has a man that supports her against whatever type of issues she runs into with her kid's father. But I also feel like, from my perspective, because I don't have any kids, and if I'm dating a guy and he has children, I feel like the effects are different with baby mamas than it is with baby daddies.
Why?
Because I feel like a lot of times more women have more like emotional baggage connected to their kid's father than men do with the
I can see
mama
that.
of their kids. You know what I mean? So if I'm dating a guy, a lot of times, I'm not saying that it happens per se right now, but a lot of times guys
2018.
yeah, guys run into issues where the baby mama doesn't like the new girl that you're dating, or don't want you to have any type of conversation with their kid, or they really don't want their the baby daddy to see the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got to deal with the guy being sad because he can't see his kid, or he really want to do something with his kid, but then this female is holding him back. I'm not saying it happens in all types of relationships,
Yeah,
but
but
it is
it
something that happens. And what happens also is that a lot of times these same women fail to respect these men as them trying to be a good father, and they say that they're deadbeats or not doing this or doing that, but they don't want to let them do it because they still have so much emotional baggage connected to this dude when he don't even want you anymore.
Well, sometimes
know-
it's the kid is the last defense, the last power that this woman has
Yeah.
with this man. And sometimes, whether it's man or woman, what happens is that you're in a new relationship.
Right.
Ours didn't work out. At one point, I loved you, right? We got a kid together. At one point, I loved you.
Mm-hmm. If that's
It hurts.
If that's how the kid got here,
Right. It could have been one night stand.
Okay.
But if it's not, at one point, I digged you somewhere. Now I see you happy with this person, living your best life, as they say, and now because of my insecurities of I couldn't give that to you, and I know I wanted to, but because of the way I'm wired up,
or
now I'm jealous.
Let me pause parenthetic right there. Or I've seen how you've leveled up.
Or, and you know, people say, oh, that's because she needed the right man to do it, to be. No, it's not that. It takes not that person. It takes what that person brings to actually unlock that level of woman. It's like a video game per se. It takes this to unlock this in me, because I may have that baggage or that shield up that I can't give you this because I don't know, one, if you're worthy of it. No matter if we've been together 6 months or 2 years, you haven't unlocked that in me yet. And now you saw that this man or this woman came, and in less time than what you did, they unlocked that in me. And so that can play on a person's ego, a person's insecurities, and jealousy.
A wise man told me, he said...
His name was Will.
No, I don't think he had a W nowhere in none of his name. No, but like he told me, this is probably like years and years ago, over a decade ago. He was like, he said certain things that you won't get in life until you get a good woman. And at this time, I wasn't dating. I wasn't, looking for nothing. I'm just, I know it was longer than that. I was in my mid late 20s. But that's what he told me. He was like, it's going to be certain places. He said, destinations you can't go unless you get a good woman. Like, it's just not going to happen. He was like, a lot of times you'll see certain guys and you be wonder why they get stagnant and stuff. It was like, because there's something about a good woman that unlocks things and that open doors for you. And he was like, some dudes just won't never, and he's like, not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong. He said, it just
never get to that level.
It just won't happen.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for listening. In my humble opinion, with me, Braylock Bloodline,
Mondo,
Daphne,
we look forward to a long season with you guys. We appreciate you for listening, and we will check in with you next week. Peace out.
Bye.
Are we done, Matt? Hey, what's going on? We'd like to thank you guys for checking out our podcast. I'd like to thank WKTV Community Media. I'd like to give a big shout out to Matt Zuby for engineering and editing this podcast for us. You can check us out on all your podcast outlets and also on social media. Stay humble, stay opinionated, and see you later.